Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Amelia and I post new life and style videos every Wednesday at 4 p.m. We have mail. We got something in the mail today that we are going to be testing out. We are testing the Blendiful from Tati Beauty. So she just released this like the beginning of January and I just got it this past Wednesday. I already opened it and looked at it, but we are going to be testing this today. I'm going to do half my face with the Blendiful and half my face as I normally do, which is my Morphe 439 brush and just my little off-brand Ulta Beauty, what is this, beauty blender, and see which side looks better and even lasts longer. First, we're going to prime the face with my Tatcha primer. Okay, so my primer's on. I'm going to zoom you guys in, which is a thing I can do now. Okay, so we are just zoomed in so you guys can get like the best look at me applying this. I'm going to be using my L'Oreal Infallible, and Tati says you can use the Blendiful for your foundation, concealer, and to set your face, and then if you used a cream, contour, or blush or anything, you can use it for that as well. I don't. I use a powder bronzer, so I'm going to be using a brush for that. Let's do the brush side first, which you guys have seen me do this like a million times. So this is just the side with the brush. No concealer or anything. This is just foundation right now, and obviously we can see that I put foundation on because the other side is that cute. And now for the Blendiful. So you don't have to wet this or anything. So we are just going to, I guess I'm just gonna squirt it directly on my face. Let's go in with this. I feel like it's absorbing a lot of the product. Maybe I should go directly on here. There we go. That's a lot better. So, and there's not like a huge difference, but I do feel I had to use more makeup with this. Like it absorbed it a lot more than I felt my brush does, and I feel like it's already making some dry patches on my skin, which I was fearful of. The reason I wet my beauty blender and don't bake is because my eyes are just very dry and it's already making like just, it's kind of peeling my eyes, whereas the brush isn't doing that. But maybe it will rectify itself. So now we're gonna go in with concealer. And first I'm just going to cover up the areas I normally cover up. Now we'll go in with this side and pat, 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 pat. Alright, and then the next side with my brush. Okay, so I mean we still look, I will say this, I don't know if this is going to like come up, but I feel like this side, the Blendiful side, does look just a little smoother right here than this side does. Like when I look in the mirror, this dryness on my eye is making me nervous. Now we'll go in with my concealer, and I should be able to bend this and use it right under my eyes, like she says. A really tight spot to get into. This is not how I like my under eye to look. I like can't get like in here, I feel like, that easily, because the other side looks crazy. Let's just compare the two now. This is my wet beauty blender, and I typically build up the coverage under my eyes too. I don't know, I just feel like this wet beauty blender is just doing a bit more for my face. I'm gonna go back on the other side, but like you can see the difference, right? Okay. I'm going to attempt to set my face, which I don't bake because like I said, I have really dry under eyes and I feel like it just makes it look so cakey. So I really do like using a wet beauty blender because it just absorbs like right into the skin and gives it a more like velvety look. So because I'm scared what's gonna happen on this side, we're gonna go in with my Try and True wet beauty blender, and I am going to stamp out the creases and then go in. We're gonna do it. We're gonna take it and I'm gonna dip in, and we'll do a smooth area first because I am that scared. And just my T-zone, set it. Okay, so it did absorb it and it looks pretty smooth. Do the rest of my forehead. I'm going to now re-blend this under eye. I'm really supposed to press. And we are pressing in to get rid of these lines. Now I will say, this is like the bad eye. It just has a lot more lines than my other eye does, which is kind of weird. Huh. Okay, not tragic. Now let's do my pores here and down my chin. I feel like looking straight ahead, it really doesn't look that different. It was a little touch and go there in the beginning. It could have just been the learning curve of you need to press in rather than like with the beauty blender. You can kind of get away with dragging. Obviously a brush, it's a more dragging motion. This is definitely a press in and lift up, press in and lift up, or else the cloth will wipe away some of the makeup. I think it looks pretty even. I don't feel like one side looks terrible than the other, especially with the under eye situation. There's a little difference. I feel like just a little bit more is poking through here and it just doesn't look as smooth. I'm going to just do my normal lock all my powders in and do the rest of my face. Okay, I am back and look prettier than I did at the beginning of this video. All right, my battery's gonna die, so we're gonna do this quickly. I don't see a huge difference between like one side to the other, which is good. As I said before, it was definitely touch and go in the beginning with the Blendiful, but I think once I learned that you just pat, pat, pat in instead of like more of a swiping motion, it does put the product on nicely. I still feel like I had to use more product with this than I do with my brush or my beauty blender. It could also just be the nature of this foundation, which just runs a little thicker and drier than some other ones, so I might try it with a different foundation and see if that makes a difference. Getting into the corner of my eye, and it could be the way my eye's built, was a bit more difficult than the point of a beauty blender, but overall, like, it got in there. You know, it did a nice job applying everything, even my powder, which is something I struggle with because I want my makeup set, but then some powders make it too dry under my eyes, and I was really nervous that without it being wet, it just wouldn't soak in properly. But I did everything I normally do, the same amount, and it came out pretty even. Looking in the mirror, this side just is naturally a little smoother. I'm not trying to like make an excuse for the Blendiful just because I love Tati. I'm just saying like my lines on this eye are definitely deeper. Now, before I set it, this side was like definitely creasing way more, and I felt again I had to use more concealer on this side than I did with my brush and beauty blender, which is kind of weird because a sponge is supposed to be soaking up more than a puff is supposed to, which is what they say, but I just didn't find that was the case. So yeah, I'm going to be doing check-ins. I just want to see if it lasts longer or if I can touch up my whole face with, not this one, with the little baby one like she says. I am going to shut this video down before my camera dies. And yeah, that is the application. One last look for everyone. Hey. It's been almost 2 hours since I filmed, and I've just been like wearing this makeup, And honestly, like, both sides look pretty much the same. I have the same under eye creasing that I normally get with either one, but I am gonna touch it up with the little baby Blendiful and see what happens. This is so close up to my eye. I don't know. I don't really feel like it's like blending it out. Maybe it is. Maybe a little bit. Soak up some of the oil. This is my final check-in of the night with the Blendiful. Okay, so we just got back from dinner. I'm literally so full. My face doesn't look that different. My under eyes are definitely breaking apart. You can see, once it focuses, the lines here, which I just get those. I have deep lines in my eyes. They always bug me, so I can't really say anything, but my pimple is like breaking apart. My mouth is kind of breaking apart, but honestly, I don't think there's much of a difference from side to side. They both kind of look equally, just like as worn through as you would expect it to look after about 5 hours. Okay, so I used the Blendiful again this morning, except with my other foundation, the Too Faced Born This Way, which is a lot more liquidy and I feel has more of like a dewy finish than the L'Oreal, which is definitely more matte. So I will say that I feel the Blendiful worked better with my more liquidy Born This Way foundation that just kind of has a bit more give to it and it's a bit more malleable than the L'Oreal. L'Oreal just like really wants to kind of lock into place immediately. I also feel with both of them, the Blendiful helps give, sorry, it's like 6:40 in the morning and I'm tired and I have to go to work. Anyway, it both kind of gives like a velvety finish. Like I think my skin looks really nice and it just kind of immediately feels locked in. With the beauty blender and brush that I normally use for either foundation, I do feel like, oh, I can't wait until I put the setting powder on and then it'll feel locked in, but with the Blendiful it just immediately feels locked in. What I don't like is that it does just automatically like dry me out. Like under my eyes you can already see like it's so dry. It normally doesn't look like that until the end of the day, and then around my mouth is also just dry. That's definitely the downside, is I feel that it might be too drying for my skin. These are my thoughts. We're gonna do my thoughts. 1, I think it's a great price for the size of both of them and the fact that you get 2, you get a big one and a little one. I think it's a great price. I do think it applies foundation just as well as a brush or beauty blender does. Maybe even a bit better than a brush, because you won't get the streak marks that you might get with some brushes. There is a learning curve though, so just beware. Like, it's not a beauty blender, it's not a brush. Like, you need to really just like pat, 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 instead of like a dragging motion. I feel like you have to use a bit more product and that it's best to put it directly onto the puff instead of on your skin, where it can kind of dry out a little bit. Your foundation will feel more locked in and tighter, which is really nice, because no one wants to be like, if someone comes near my face, my foundation is going to just like move immediately. Like, that's not a fun feeling at all. You know, as far as like applying my foundation versus the brush, I do kind of like it more, but for my under eyes and any areas that I know tend to be dry, I don't, because I feel like it just, I don't know, sucks the moisture out too much, and I do prefer having just a moist beauty blender be able to moisten, I hate that word, the area. So I would give the Blendiful by Tati like 6.5, 7 out of 10, because I think it does what it says it does. I think you could do your whole face with this. If you have dry skin, I would be just a little cautious, because even my few dry patches, it's not really working that well. So that's going to wrap up this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.